news of the letter is not new.
Right.
Seeing the letter hits a little bit differently. The president is still standing by his guns here that it's not his.
Absolutely. He is standing by his guns that it's not his. The Wall Street Journal's analysis of the letter, since they broke the story initially, he said, look, that's not what Taylor Buttigieg said was, look, that's not his signature, and here are some examples that look different. Yeah. Well, the Wall Street Journal has now found plenty of examples of letters he's written to people, including Hillary Clinton, ironically, in which he uses that same casual signature of just Donald. We don't know if he really wrote it, but we do know that it was given to the House Oversight Committee under subpoena from the Epstein estate. They had it in the birthday book. They turned it over to Congress, and Democrats today released that letter. So there would have to be a lot of jujitsu going on for that letter to be manufactured. Also, remember that House Republicans on the committee have seen it as well.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's the letter. And let's also just remember, to be fair, that when the Epstein victims had that news conference, I think it was last week, on the Capitol steps, they did say they didn't see Donald Trump do anything untoward or inappropriate when they saw him. But writing the birthday card, it looks, everything seems to point to the fact that Donald Trump did write that.
So what happens next here, Wendy? Where do we go from here in terms of the commentary from the White House or even the pressure from Congress?
Well, Congress seems to be keeping up the pressure, and it is bipartisan. Remember that we had Thomas Massie, who is a Republican who decided not to run again after opposing Trump on some legislative issues, is teamed up with Ro Khanna of California. And then, as I mentioned, those Epstein victims had that news conference last week. And they also talked to some members of Congress, and you have MAGA Republicans like Nancy Mace of South Carolina, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, coming out. Nancy Mace was in tears after listening to them. She has also publicly said she was a victim of sexual assault. And so their testimony hit her really hard. And so part of this, I think, is the MAGA conspiracy, that they believe there was more in the Epstein files. And, of course, they were looking for prominent Democrats to be a part of it. And the Democrats have joined in since it became more Trump-focused. But, I think the drumbeat isn't going to stop. And at some point, Mike Johnson is going to have to allow a vote on releasing everything.
Well, so how do you change the subject on a story like this? If you're President Trump, do you send troops to Chicago? In all seriousness, the threats that were out there all weekend, could this trigger a movement like that?
Absolutely it could, and I took you completely seriously at that. It's just the state we're in, that the answer to that might be that National Guard troops show up in Chicago. They have already started immigration raids in the city. That's probably not new that they've stepped up these immigration raids, but some of them seem more intense. And certainly Trump over the weekend talked nonstop about going into Chicago. And Tom Homan said on the Sunday shows that absolutely they were going in this week. So it does look like that's part of it. And as you know, Trump does like to change the narrative whenever it gets uncomfortable for him.